Our final market challenge begins where many trading approaches end. Getting this right is what ultimately separates the top traders from the rest of market participants. The final market challenge is how to manage risk. At its core, trading is a simple process. If the market goes up and you bought, you make money. If the market goes down and you sold short, you make money. If you've selected a good tradable product with ripe opportunities, and you have a good way of defining when the market is going to go up or down, trading success should come naturally. So why then do some traders still lose money even after they've got all of this down? There are a few likely possibilities. A first trader can be profitable for quite some time, but very suddenly give back all his profits and more. Gains that he gradually accumulated over years can disappear in a matter of just a few short weeks. Other traders might have a reasonably good winning rate, but it always feels like they're taking one step forward and two steps back. These traders are also very close. It's not by chance that they're making winning trades, but when they do have a losing trade, they give back too much. A similar trader can pick the winners, but he can never follow through in his account. He can always say he knew it all along, but since he didn't pull the trigger, he doesn't see the rewards. And when he does make the trade, he also gets out with too small of a profit before he sees real returns. Not taking advantage of the market's opportunity also leaves him ill-prepared for inevitable losses. Not to mention how frustrating it is. A frustrated trader can easily make a costly mistake, chasing the market into dangerous territory. All of these common problems stem back to risk management, so it's fair to say that a trading system is only as good as its ability to manage risk. Of course, the key to risk management then is keeping losing trades small while still taking advantage of the great opportunities that come during a market trend. The reality, though, is that most trading approaches are primarily concerned with the entry and assume that the trade will go as planned. Risk management is generally an afterthought, and they tack on an arbitrary stop saying never to lose more than X dollars or X% of your account on any given trade. This form of risk management is just inviting the market to take you out, and if you've traded this way for any length of time, you'll be familiar with getting stopped out for loss when the trade should have been a winner. That's because even during a trend, when the market's general direction is either going higher or lower, the price can still pull back significantly. If the stop is too tight, you make a nice little donation to the market and it continues on without you. This can happen even when you're 100% correct about where the market was going. In an effort to stay in the trade, they might have you use a wider stop, but of course the stop can also be too wide. When reversals do occur, you lose too much to be profitable in the long run. That's what causes the feeling of taking one step forward and two steps back. What's more is that most trading systems overlook how to manage risk intra-trade. Intra-trade risk management is essentially how a system helps us to answer what to do when a trade is not a loser. When can you start to reduce the amount of money you have at risk? When can you start to secure profit? And how you can ensure that your winning trade doesn't turn into a losing trade. We said before, very few systems really address risk management as a key market challenge, but even fewer trading systems address intra-trade risk management. Recall that this market challenge is about keeping losing trades small while still taking advantage of the great trading opportunities that come during a market trend. How can you let a winning trade run with the trend if you're trading without a dynamic method of managing risk? Most trading systems just show you how to set an initial stop at the beginning of the trade. Now you might say that these are just problems that are the result of a static approach to risk management. The stop should be based on what's actually going on in the market. But technical analysis has become commonplace for active traders, but it has yet to change the landscape of the 80-20 rule. That's because most of these calculated methods are really no better than the static values. They're just derivatives of moving averages, standard deviations, or average true range. The signals will only benefit you if the underlying principles are sound. It really is not easy finding something that is constant but can continue to work in something as dynamic as the market. Many system developers give up at coming up with something new. Instead of innovating, they implement the same old methods and expect different results. Why can they expect different results? because sometimes you can get away with breaking their exit rules. In a way, they defer the blame from the system to the user. Why does a trader let a small losing trade turn into a big losing trade when most of the time he knows that he should get out and usually has the full ability to do so? Why can it be so difficult for a trader to adhere to a trading system? It's because most trading systems out there really don't have a sound, systematic approach to differentiating if you need to get out of a trade or if you can stay in. If your risk management continues to be too loose or too tight, you learn that you cannot rely upon it, and in reality, there's no system there at all. The time you get whacked for letting a small losing trade turn into a big losing trade, it looks like the system told you to get out all along. That's what we call turning a system problem into a people problem. If you aren't familiar with this idea, it's basically saying that with any problem, the source is either with the individual or the whole systematic approach. As an example, let's say a business is getting swamped with calls about one simple problem. Their staff might blame the individuals calling in. What a simple problem, why can't these people figure that out? Or they can find that the problem is with the system. Oh, the information is missing from the web page, so everyone had to call in. It's a system problem. When a trader lets a losing trade run beyond an exit rule, it's usually a system problem and not a people problem. While we agree that trading is part art and part science, we never compromise on our exit rules. Which finally brings us to discuss what we have found to be the most effective way of managing risk. You recall from the previous video that we said the most important piece of information related to the market is the price. Everything there is to know about a market is consolidated into the current price. Well then, what is the most important piece of information in terms of the price? The answer? The support and resistance levels. Support and resistance can be easily understood by examining a chart. As the market moves higher and lower, there seems to be levels where the price appears to bounce off invisible floors and ceilings. That is what support and resistance refers to. The price floors are called support, and the price ceilings are called resistance. During a trend, the market is clearly going higher, but the price will still pull back to test the support. If you look at a chart, it's like a rubber ball bouncing up a set of stairs. Of course, the same is true for a market that's going lower, just in reverse. Now, the reason this information is so important is that these price levels are also where the market can change direction. So if you can define where the market support or resistance truly are, you can differentiate between retracements during a trend and reversals that ultimately end the trend. So the solution that we're looking for becomes a systematic, principle-based method of defining support and resistance from the beginning to the end of the trend. Of course, this is easier said than done, yet that is exactly what we have achieved through AbleTrend. Specifically, our Trend 2 indicator was designed with all of these key characteristics built in. There are countless ways people have tried to calculate support and resistance, but none work quite as well as Trend 2. That is why experienced traders will immediately recognize how special this trading system is, and why our longtime users have come up with the motto, "Don't fight Trend 2." You'll find that Trend 2 is both clear and objective. The visual presentation is intuitive, and you're provided with the specific price of support or resistance. When T2 shows you support or resistance has been broken, you know to get out of the trade. When the entry condition is met, you'll find that you're not only in the best position to make money, but you also ensure that you'll keep any losing trades that you have small. As the trade progresses, Trend 2 continues to help you manage the risk, gradually reducing the amount of money you could lose in the trade and ultimately helping you to secure profit. It is a tremendous feeling, the point when a trade becomes a winner using AbleTrend. You never know how much more the market could give you, but you know for certain that you won't lose money. And that is how you can really let your winning trades run, taking advantage of sometimes unbelievable price action. In the final video of this series, we'll be putting all the pieces together to show you a complete money-making approach. Plus, we'll show you a few ways you can see the AbleTrend system in action for yourself.